welcome back. I ended up picking up a Streamlight TLR-6 HL, and the G there is for green. I get the green laser, 300 lumen light, which is an improvement, I guess, on the older version that was not the HL. If you just get a TLR-6, I think it was 100 lumen. This one's 300 lumen, so it's a little bit brighter. I think this one came out fairly recently, like in the last year at least. I hadn't seen anybody that did a video on this light with the P365, which is how I'm going to put this together. So I just figured I would do one, and maybe I'd actually have something to contribute today. So we'll go ahead and get this opened up. I'll be right back. Okay, so what we get in the box is a USB cable, USB-C, thankfully. So that's what the new hotness is these days. If you watch this video 10 years from now, you're probably going to go, USB-C, that's garbage, but whatever. You get a little instruction booklet. This is kind of nice. This is actually decent size. The text on it is readable size. That's pretty nice. It's about like what the old maps used to look like in size. Foldable maps. Right, so instructions, that's nice. Didn't expect to have decent size instructions that I could actually read. You get the Allen key to not only install the light, but to adjust your windage and elevation. You get the light itself, and you get a pack of batteries. Now it comes with a battery in it already, so you get a total of 3 batteries. According to the documentation I read, each battery should last you 20 minutes of light, so you get a full hour. Doesn't sound like much, but an hour of light using all 3 batteries. About 20 minutes of light for one. If you use laser, oh man, I should look this up. I'll put it up on the screen. But the red laser lasts longer than the green laser. If you run laser only, I think it was something like 5 hours or something. Anyway, I'll put it up on the screen, but the red laser lasts longer if you're running laser only. What's funny is if they say if you run both, the red model and the green model, they both say will last 20 minutes with light and laser. You'd think it'd be a little bit different, but I guess the power draw from the laser is either insignificant enough to not make a difference when you're burning the light all the time, or maybe they just didn't put that in the calculation and tried to keep it simple. Who knows? So just real quick on the modes on this. I think by default here, it's probably hard to see with the glare of the light on my camera, but there is a laser dot here, green laser, I can see in my lighting. If you hold down, let's see, if you tap both buttons, I believe it's supposed to toggle the modes. So I think I just turned off the laser. Yeah, now I got light only. And if you tap that again, you get laser only. You tap that again, you get laser and light, and it just rotates through those modes. No laser, laser only, light and laser. So there you go. And if you tap it once, it turns it on. Tap it again, it turns it off. You hold it, you get a momentary on, and you release, and it turns back off. So I would say that's an ideal configuration for the light for me. And it doesn't just like toggle through the modes when you turn it on and off. It remembers the last mode you were in. So if you got it set for light and laser, it'll be on light and laser next time you turn it on. So there's that. And the little USB charger here, USB-C, and it did come with that cable, so that's pretty slick. This is just kind of a silicone material here. I guess it just puts pressure on the batteries. Yeah. let's see, how do we get them out here? Do they just drop out? They don't drop out easy, that's for sure. Okay, so you get a contact on the side and a contact down in the bottom with a spring. If you can see down in there. Spring, not a very robust looking spring, but there is a spring down in there. And then a friction kind of spring contact on the side. I believe that's springy, yeah. Yeah, you get a little bit of a spring there that's pushing against the side of the battery, which is why these don't just fall out when you tip it over. So it's a little annoying. You got to shake them out like a cigarette out of the pack, but I guess you won't, maybe you won't lose them. And so this stretches over here. I wonder why they have these little holes in here. What is this? Whatever, doesn't matter. Speed holes. You got speed holes on the side there. Okay, so that's just a storage container, and it also acts as a charger along with your USB-C cable. And the only other thing that came in the package was this little bit of propaganda. Thanks for joining Streamlight. Alright, so today I'm going to get this installed on my P365 Wilson Combat grip module. So let me, well, let's just do this on camera. Let's see how this goes. Might have to do some editing if this takes a considerable amount of time. See, I got no screws on this side, so the right side of the light is where all your screws are to disassemble. Looks like we got 3 to work with here. Maybe I should pop the battery out first. It seems like it might be a smart thing to do. I'm going to use a pry bar, but it looks like this might be designed to use a coin. It's got a nice little rounded spot there. Okay, and we got the, alright, so the little button is going to go down first, which makes sense because it makes contact on the side, same as the charger does, and the spring down on the bottom. So it goes in the same orientation that it goes in the charger, which seems logical. Alright, I'm going to leave this open. I think that's going to prevent it from coming apart if I close it. So we'll leave the battery door open. Get this out of the way just for a minute. Pop the screw off. And you see, yeah, I got some Loctite handy. We'll Loctite this back together. Blue Loctite. I'm not going to try to permanently keep this thing on. Okay, there we go. I think I got all 3 screws loosened up enough here. I think. Yeah, there it goes. Come off. Alright, there we go. So, the way that came apart, we're going to be putting the thing on in this direction. Oh, that's a nice snug fit. Feels like it snaps on, which is good. Because if you watch my previous video on a previous laser I had on a car CM9, the issue I had with it was that it had enough play in it, and I think it was flex. It wasn't really that it was loose. The thing fits on pretty snug, but I think the issue is that it just has enough flex. The plastic is thin enough to where, well, I'm really fighting with this here. Hang on. The little light module down there first. Let me drop these screws all the way out. Seems like it was interfering with alignment down here. Anyway, so that was a Crimson Trace that I had a problem with the laser housing flexing, so that when I went to shoot, if I had my finger just pushed on the side of the laser, it would change your point of impact. So that was kind of a deal killer for me. I ended up leaving the laser on the gun, even though I had an issue with it. And that's mostly just because my eyes are so bad that I kind of need a laser, if I'm going to be honest with myself. Now I could, well, this is some nasty looking stuff when it gets old, huh? A little bit on there. A little bit on there. I think it only really makes contact with the tip of these threads. Looked like there might have been, I don't know if it was just wear from being screwed in, or there was already some kind of Loctite on there. Alright, the third one down there. Close this grungy stuff up. By the way, if you do use Loctite, I recommend this. Get the stick. It's a lot easier to work with, a lot less messy. It does tend to dry out and get a little grungy looking though, so if that hurts your feelings, maybe you wouldn't want to use it. But if you've used the liquid Loctite and had the experience I've had, it wants to get all over the place, and it seems like it takes a long time to dry. Okay, I'm going to drop all 3 screws in there and we'll tighten them up. Very lightly finger tight there. Just getting ready to squeeze this thing together. I have my finger on the buttons. That's probably not the smartest way to hold this little thing together. Alright. And you're not supposed to put these on crazy tight. Get little tiny Allen screws. Here you can strip out the screws, you can strip out the head, you can ruin your Allen key. I don't know which one's going to fail first, but you're working with tiny little pieces here. Now, this does not feel like it's catching for some reason. Why am I not catching? Did this go in at an angle? That doesn't quite look right. Alright, stand by. Okay, back again. So I did manage to push one of these screws in at a slight angle, so be mindful of that when you're doing yours if you get one of these. And there we go. That caught nicely onto the threads. And that's snug. This one, got a little bit of play left in this one. Okay, that's pretty snug. That feels pretty good too. Okay, it looks like it's on there right. Let's drop our battery back in. The correct orientation with the button, or what do they say? That's the positive side? Yeah, that's the positive side going into the light first. Snap the latch closed, and then we should have a light. There we go. So just to finish out my little story here on the Crimson Trace experience that I had in the past with the car CM9. So when you're holding the gun and you're putting your finger out to the side here, I could see that the laser would flex if I just put a little bit of pressure on it, and I could watch that dot on the wall move as I pushed on the laser. So I never really trusted it. I guess it would be good within, 10 feet, but I probably wouldn't trust it beyond that. So I don't know, wasn't really happy with the product, but I didn't have a good alternative at the time, so I just stuck with it. So now that I'm gonna at least potentially start carrying this gun, I wanted to get it decked out with a laser as well. Of course, the new hotness is to have an optic, right? Well, I have an optic. What is this, the 507K X2? And I do like it, but in a defensive situation, you still have to bring your optic up to your eye. You still have to line up your sights effectively in order to see the dot correctly. So you still have all the same procedure. You just have the dot there that gives you a little extra assist if you're not quite on the sights just right. So for me, that's going to be slower than a laser, and slower is not good for me in a defensive situation. I'm probably going to have issues with not being quick enough, right? I'm not a super tactical guy. Can I do this on YouTube? Let me just pull this off camera. So I can use every advantage I can get, and if that advantage is going to be a laser, then a laser it is. There we go. That's what it looks like on the gun. And oh my goodness, we didn't even use these beautiful instructions they sent. They might be good for reference later. I hear the warranty is pretty good on these. I like Crimson Trace quite a bit because they would send you batteries. And that was just a laser. It wasn't a light and a laser, but they would actually send you a replacement battery, like I think it's once a year, something like that. And frankly, the laser batteries lasted me a lot longer than a year, but I didn't want to have to ask all the time. I just ended up ordering a few of them, stuck them in my toolbox for my handguns, and I was all set. But now that I got this, they say this is a proprietary battery. I don't know how true that is. I'll assume it's true. Streamlight proprietary battery, and you got to buy these batteries from them. It's an SLB2 Streamlight battery. Probably is a proprietary battery because I don't think most companies would leave the metal exposed on the side there. They don't usually charge batteries along the side, in my experience. That seems a little unusual. This tells you how to do the orientation of the battery in the charger, which I already talked about. But there we go. And I actually intended to use this. I was going to get just a laser. I was going to just get a laser, and I decided I wanted a light too, just because, again, my eyes aren't so great. And I found out the Lima laser, the one that I guess SIG was pushing when this came out, was discontinued. I can't seem to find it. I found the red one in a couple places, but the green one seems to be completely gone. Can't find that anywhere on the internet. And just kind of Googling around, it looks like it was discontinued, and even the red one is kind of hard to find. I don't know if that's like old stock that some companies have, and other people just ran out. I think Optics Planet had the red Lima laser, and it was on clearance, so that one's discontinued. I don't know if it had a problem or what, but looks like it was discontinued. So I was looking at Lima laser because that one was contoured really well with the gun. But once I found out it was discontinued, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get a discontinued laser for my gun. So then I was looking at Crimson Trace again. I think I'd run into the same issue where it would flex. It's got the little itty bitty screws. I think it's only got 2 screws in it. It looks like the same general design as they use for the Car CM9 on the model that applies to the SIG 365. So I decided I didn't want to do the Crimson Trace one either. There's some other lasers out there. They don't seem to be as popular. One thing I would recommend is if you go out looking for a light or a laser or both, make sure you're looking for holsters at the same time if this is your carry gun, because a lot of these smaller companies or less popular lighting attachments for your guns, it's really tough to find a holster that fits them. So just make sure you can find a manufacturer that makes a holster that you like for your gun with your light, whether it be a laser or a light or both. And if you got an optic cut, you know, all those little preferences you have to have in place for your specific configuration. Make sure you can find a manufacturer for that. You can't go out and get custom holsters. You know, you don't go tell some company that, hey, I get this light with this gun and this optic, and I want a high sweat guard on the thing, and I want it to ride really low, or I want the cant to be a certain angle. You can go to those people then, and I'm sure you'll find somebody out there that will make you a holster custom for whatever configuration you have, but it's probably not going to be cheap. And I like cheap, and I like available, and if I could find a place that had holsters on the shelf for particular guns with particular optics with particular lights, that's the kind of configuration I would want to build, because it would be highly available. But I don't think that happens too often. We don't, even in my state, we don't have a huge selection of holsters in any of the places I've ever been. You can get some, you know, Uncle Mike's nylon holsters and stuff locally, but it's pretty hard to find anything for in Kydex for a specific configuration like this. So I order all my stuff online. Just make sure you can find one that fits your gun. That's it. And just one last thing on this. I want to say that I'm going to blame this on Spin Firearms. He had a couple videos recently about using a laser on your gun because it's quicker than using your optic. And he really just reminded me of why I got the Crimson Trace laser once upon a time. And that was it. That was it. Because if you're in a defensive situation and I'm hurt, I'm laying on the ground, I can hold this, hit the button, and I can hit my target from pretty much any orientation as long as I can see, right? If I can see the dot, I can shoot the target. And it's a lot easier to see the dot like this than it is to see the dot looking down through this optic, which I think it turned off. No, I didn't even have it on. Anyway, it's a lot easier to find the laser dot than it is to find the dot in the optic. Oop, where'd the dot go? Where'd the dot go? Oh, there it is. So, yeah, corny, I know, I apologize. But just a lot easier to find that. So, That's my 2 cents. That's what I'm going with. Hey, I forgot something. I went into this big long lecture about how you need to make sure you can find a holster for your gun. And I didn't mention that I did find a holster for this gun. So one thing I wanted to mention about this light, the TLR-6 HL, or the HL green. From what I understand, it takes the same holsters as just a TLR-6. So keep that in mind. I'm going to find out if that's actually true. I only found one place that mentioned the TLR-6 HL. And that one place, I think it was Tulster Holsters, I think, was saying that the TLR, their holster for this gun fit the TLR-6 and the TLR-6 HL. So I'm assuming that we have the same form factor here. I took a chance, stuck with that assumption, and I ordered a holster for the TLR-6. Didn't specifically mention the HL at the place I ordered from. Didn't get it from Tulster because Tulster didn't have an optic cut for their holster that accommodated the light with the P365. So you may find something different. Maybe you like Tulster holsters. I don't know. I just didn't find what I needed from them, or I might have ordered from them directly. Unfortunately, I had to take their information and shop elsewhere because they didn't have the product I needed. Found somebody on eBay, made them an offer, which is also something I should thank Spin Firearms for. I'm kind of a novice, I guess you could say it, doing eBay stuff, and he pointed out that, you know, when you go on eBay, make sure you're making an offer if your seller is allowing you to make an offer. Don't just pay the price that you see if there's a make offer button. You know, don't go crazy and lowball them so much that they just reject your offer, but, you know, make what you think is a reasonable offer for whatever the product is and see if you get it. Maybe they'll make a counter offer, maybe they'll reject you, I don't know. But if you don't need something like immediately, which I would think if you're shopping on eBay and doing a site that does bidding, you're probably not looking for something I need right away. Anyway, make an offer. That's what I did, and just found out this morning that they accepted my offer, which was only, I think I only took like $5 off of what they were asking, and it's like a $70 holster. Might have been a $70 holster, and I just asked them to take $5 off, and they did. So that's on its way, and I'll let you know how it works out when that holster comes in. Hopefully it fits. Stay safe out there, guys. Bye. I was just going to top off these batteries, and I noticed when you plug this in, you get 2 status LEDs. So it looks like the status LEDs are going to change per battery. So you get 2 batteries in here, 2 status lights, and it tells you when each one's charged. So that's kind of neat. Didn't know that. Now you know.